I'm on a
Well
ball this
done.
morning. I'm on a ball. Okay, so let's have a check-in, and I want to hear from you this morning about what do you feel's been the transformation from starting 6 weeks ago to where you are now. I'll give you a moment to think about it. Like, what has changed from when you started to now? What do you think has been the transformation? I think I'm going to pick on you, Lalani. Do you mind going first?
No, not at all. I have to say, the first 42-day challenge was a bit easier for me than this one. If I have to be honest, this one I felt like I was floating. I felt like there wasn't a hardcore start because throughout time we went to another goal and another goal. So eventually we got last week, we got to my actual goal. So for me, it's going to be like a 2 week challenge, not a 6 week challenge, because I feel like I've kind of wasted 4 weeks. And I
Yeah,
really did not, because there's still progress. My main goal was to lose the weight and stick to my water and stick to all the things that we said. And I've done that. But it feels like, no, if I think about it, I know I've done it. But if I feel, it feels like I didn't.
let's have a moment and ponder that, right? So that's an interesting one. So you know you've done it, but it feels like you haven't done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can totally understand um, what you mean because I wanted to do gut, um, and I feel as if it hasn't, like I haven't done what I've wanted to do. But if I think about it, I mean, I have uh,
Oops, sorry, that's me. I
what
pressed the
is
AI
that, Anil?
companion button by mistake. I don't know.
A
Apparently it
participant
does things.
will be able to access topics and content to this meeting. You can change access permissions in the AI panel. Should we say start AI companion and see what happens, right? I've never used it before. Have you, Anil?
Never.
No, okay, well let's press yes and let's see what happens. Why not? We're learning, right? AI automatically start and remind me to.
I think it
Oh,
helps
you
you
know
make it
what I
like a
think this
summary of
is?
the
How
meeting.
brilliant. So if we have, do you have it on your side as well? If we have a question, we can quickly chat amongst each other and say, okay, well, let me just check. It's your AI companion in your meeting. You know, it's your secretary that's there waiting for you to be like, how's it? Don't you just want to get the definition of anxiety for me quick and
Yes.
Awesome.
yes,
I
that is
I just
awesome.
I just hit the button. Are there any items random? And it pops a lovely little verbiage here. Anyway, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think it's great. So thanks for that accidentally, Anil.
So I have to just add, I think last week was a very powerful session. We scare one another and use physical things that scares you to relate to your goal and to kind of discipline yourself not to overstep. Because so I've done my angry lion. I've chosen to do an angry lion because I want to
Okay.
be shit scared. Okay. And then obviously I didn't use my father-in-law's photo. I just used similar. So if you look fast, you kind of see him, but it's not him. So this is my very, very angry lion.
That's brilliant.
And that's the man without the legs, where we don't want to end up as.
No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
and I think for that, and I think the Superman and the fact that I don't want to have what do you call it? Cortisone. I don't want to have any more cortisone that my body usually makes. So with all that, I think from last week, I think I'm on a good track. So, but yeah, I think last week was a very powerful session. So to answer your question, if I think of it, I'm good. If I feel 2 weeks out of 4 weeks, I'm good.
Good, good. Well done. I think that realistically, Lalani, for you, it is what's 42 plus 42? It's 84. 84 weeks, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So no, well done. I think ultimately you've done well there.
84 days, 12 weeks.
I mean, yes, sorry, days,
84
days,
days,
days.
12
I
weeks.
think I'm gonna have to turn it off because it's
Yes.
disturbing my internet. Sorry. Delete meeting assistance. Yes, please. Stop. Go away. We'll just ask chat if we need to. But that's a very nice to know. Okay, so Lalani, well done. And are you also going to be joining us on Sunday remotely? We're going to try.
I'm going to try my best, yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. And then we are going to see what we can do for the next 42 days. Are you on board again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like in my home and mum and wife and my life situation, I cannot go without this because this is the only thing that really keeps me on track and keep me accountable for whatever has to come next. So I think I'm at this stage in a very vulnerable stage, so I cannot stop. I'm
Yeah,
definitely not stopping.
I absolutely hear you. Okay, good. Yeah, fantastic. Anil, how about your transformation?
It's interesting that Lalani said that last week's session was quite a powerful. I also felt like that. I thought it was just me, but it really hit home. And, Lalani shared the story of her father-in-law, which was quite powerful and insightful, very helpful to me. So thank you for sharing that with me. And I like to use the carrot and the stick. The fear is, of the story that Lon shared with us. And also, I like asking the question, if I loved myself, what would I do? But the three things that I kind of, learned along the way was to say that, first of all, be realistic. One thinks it's very, very easy to say, hey, man, just be realistic. But, when I started, I thought, oh, you can conquer the world, you can do anything. But as you go from week to week, you see that some weeks you have a good week, some weeks you don't have a good week. And the idea, I think that was very important, was to learn from one week to the next. Also, that was what was also very, very important was breaking things up into um, smaller steps, mini steps, minute steps that I don't know why, but it's a very powerful tool to use, breaking things down. Because some of the other you skip these mini steps, so you don't think they're important enough. They actually become hurdles. So that was very important for me. And then, I think most of all, also, I found that it was a self-discovery, you know. I was learning a lot about myself. And from one week to the next, you begin to see the patterns that seem to be emerging or the trends or exactly where you trying to go, where you're going wrong. And I found that that was a very interesting, powerful tool because whenever I journal, I try and reflect on the day. And if you page back, or at least I do it in Excel, if you scroll up, you can see the different learnings. So that was very, very important for me. So thank you.
Done. Done, Anil, really well done. Yeah, well done. Brilliant. How about you, Marianne? Do you want to say anything about the... No, cool. No problem. Okay, so let's do a check-in and then we'll do content. So, Anil, whilst you're speaking, how was this week?
Yeah, I think I had a very good week, which was really nice. One of the things that, I also learned from Delani was, hey man, you gotta measure these things. I think you quite said it, and Irene, you gotta, when you're setting your goals, I think just having that conversation in particular about your diet, you gotta weigh yourself or find a way of measuring yourself physically if you're making any progress or not. Because how the hell are you gonna know? And it sounds so obvious, but it's quite important. And then I also, it's only when you begin to track, like for myself, I started tracking how much calories, how much carbs am I actually eating per meal per day. You actually get quite quite a reality check. So sometimes you just think you're doing a great job, but when you actually physically start to measure these things, you actually see where the problems lie. So that's very helpful.
Good. Well done for doing well. So you didn't
I
cheat.
totally agree.
Sorry.
Lalani, you go.
No, no, no. I also want to know, did you cheat?
I didn't actually cheat this week. I had a good week. The yes, but what I did discover was that actually, um, the idea is to eat a certain amount of calories per day, and I always thought that I was hitting that target, even though. Oh, it's getting another call. Let me just kill this thing. Um, so I always thought that I was within that calorie range for some reason or the other. So even though I was banting, you still need to get within a certain calorie range or target. And even though I had a very good banting week, I realized that actually, I need to decrease my calories per day. And that's gone very well for the last 3 days, which was
Hmm.
important. Mm.
Yeah, well done. And did you find that difficult?
I think that there's something powerful about writing it down and measuring it. And it suddenly becomes a challenge it became like a challenge to me. Oh gosh, next meal or next day, I gotta do this. And I don't know, but I found it wasn't as difficult. It
It's
was better, it
wonderful.
was easier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well
yeah.
done.
Mm,
Well done. Good.
Good job.
good,
How about
good.
you,
Thank
Lalani?
you.
Well, I have to add to Anil's there. The one thing that I can kick myself is I've never measured myself since the beginning. And I
Oh,
can feel on my clothes. And I'm the one that needs to do it. I know these
you
things. So I'm very
you get everyone
disappointed.
else to do it, right?
Practice what you preach, right? Anyway, so I didn't. I actually decided to, okay, I'm gonna. And you know what? I've realized that my measuring chart is gone. So a while back, I lost my computer, just didn't want to turn on
Oh,
again, and I borrowed Krista's one for a while. And then Ignis my son from America bought me a new laptop for my birthday. So, but I lost everything. So Krista took out my hard drive and he built it into a casing that I can use it as an external. But because it's got its own windows on and it clashes with mine, so I cannot access my measuring chart. And that's the problem. But it's not an excuse because you just literally take your measuring tape and you go around your arm, upper arm, lower arm, breast, upper belly, lower belly, hips, bums, thighs, calves. That's what you got to do. And I didn't. I can feel in my clothes I've done well, especially on the injections that I am. I can definitely feel there's so big difference, and I can see it in my clothes and everything. But yeah, I think my best compliment was from my daughter about a week ago said to me, Mom, I really don't like that jean. It's horrible. And I said, that's the one I've been wearing for the past 6 months or something. And she's like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah, it's just because it's hanging and it's sacky now. But she's like, oh, yeah, I think it's that. So that was a good compliment for me. Anyway, but yeah, well, and I have done I skipped yesterday's injection because I do it on a Tuesday, but I decided to do it this morning just to give myself that one extra break day 4, the intention is I've started with the double shot this morning. So what you do is you only inject 2.5 milliliters. And once you feel like you don't move up or down anymore, just boost your body with one shot. And then next week I'll go back to 2.5 milliliters again. So, yeah, but I'm expecting it's going to give me big time headaches and nausea and da 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 da. But I'll just up my water and just do double water. So, but I feel like I'm okay. I feel like I've did a lot of research for banting and fasting and long term and short term and um, pros and cons and so. Um, but I feel like I'm okay now. And I feel like I'm excited to be sick about the injection because then I know I'm not going to cheat with sugar and alcohol. So that's the two things I'm excited about.
Good. Well done. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Well done.
Thanks.
Marianne, I think with you we should look at what we're going to be doing moving forward. What's your plan for this week?
Getting out of bed. Um, uh, if I was so depressed, I literally didn't get out of bed. So that I'm up today, and I was up yesterday as well at 9. That's quite an achievement. And my sleeping pattern is better. But then for the rest of the day, I've got so much to do. It's not an excuse that I don't know, I don't have anything to do. I've got lots to do, but it's just as if it's so overwhelming.
Yes.
I just sit in a binge Netflix, that it's just too much, which is stupid. I mean,
It's not stupid,
but
Marianne. I totally 100% understand. So I think you just got to be nice to yourself. And yes, wake up in the morning, right? That's the plan. No, get out of bed.
and get up and get up. That's the whole thing. And I must get dressed. It's not like just staying for days just in my pajamas. I know
I
all this, but doing the right thing is another story, because intellectually I know everything about depression and what it does, but do you think I can do it? But I'm just, I've hit bottom. I'm on the way up. That I can feel definitely.
Sorry, just give me 1 second.
Marion, if I can add something, I think it would be good for you to keep yourself accountable for when you don't feel like getting up or get dressed or whatever. I think, and that's what I actually like about the weekly sessions, is I don't have a choice. Whether I'm buggered up this week or not, or whether I feel like I'm not lit for this or whatever, it kind of keeps you accountable because you know you have to be here on a Sunday morning, on a Wednesday morning, and you have to be up and dressed. So it kind of keeps you accountable for whatever you set yourself up for the week. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
listen.
I mean, intellectually, I understand that. But if you're in such a deep depression, and I mean, I just sleep through. I mean, there were days when I would wake up 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the alarms would go off. I could see people phone me. I don't hear a thing. I know I don't want to face the world. I know all that. And that's why I've missed all these sessions. It's not intentionally. It's just, yeah, I felt like a zombie. But this morning, 7 o'clock, without the alarm, I was awake. Couldn't believe it.
So now we actually know that if you are not in the class, we have to contact you and make sure you're okay, because that's our responsibility towards you as a team member.
Yeah, but thank you, but I always feel it's my responsibility. I'm the one who has to do it. I mustn't rely on other people because I've just seen so many people in my life who have problems and they always rely on other people. Oh, you must feel sorry for me. I can't do this because I have depression or I have this, or, and I hate that. I just feel, yes, it's nice there is help, but in the end, it's only yourself. And okay, I had a mother with depression, and she literally got into bed when she was 70, no, about 60, 65. And she waited to die, but it took her 27 years to die. And it was depression, but she just didn't want to do anything. She was difficult. Even in the old age home where they said, get up, get dressed, come for a walk, come and eat in the, she wouldn't do it.
I actually have an aunt who's done the exact same thing, and also about 65, has decided that this is it. She's lived her life. She basically and she was single mom, dynamic, earned lots of money, like busy, out at night, like just amazing. She's like my favorite aunt. And
Yeah.
she, yeah, has just decided that that's that, and not interested. So I think it's not uncommon, and I think this is where you also need to just also realize, Marianne, it's not uncommon to understand the theories about what it is that you need to do when you're depressed. But when it happens, it's actually something else. And I once read this thing about this man who suffered from depression his entire life, like your mom, like a full on all the time depression. And he said that he started to, when he realized he was depressed, he started to imagine himself, and this is what gets him out of it. He started to imagine himself in a hole that's very, very, very deep, and somebody has put a ladder made of rope. So it's
Yeah.
wiggly, it's unstable, it's not, and he has to take a step on that rope to get
Yes.
himself up, even if it's one step a day. But he's got to get himself on that step, and that's how was worked with his mind to get himself out of. And I mean, if you consider how bad you need to be to think of it like that, he said he was unfunctionable. The only thing he was able to do is breathe. His body just did that for him. He was totally unfunctionable. And then he started to imagine himself in this pit, and every day he had to take one step. And that one step was brush my teeth. And then he had to brush his teeth and, shower. Then he went the next day, brush teeth, shower, and that's how he gradually gets himself out. And it happens all the time. So we can't underestimate the fact that being in a depression is very, very, very real. And I once had this lady, we were in this like coaching therapy group, and she was saying how depressed she was, and this other coach said to her, just snap out of it. Well, did that set did that set the whole thing alight, right? It was like all of a sudden an explosion because he had clearly not experienced the depression that is understood. And she just went because she felt as if she was in a safe space. And after that comment, she was thrown off. And all the other therapists just like laid into this guy because you don't just snap out of it. It is an impossibility to snap out of it. You've actually got to gradually lift yourself up from it. And I think the thing for me, I agree with Lilani, the fact that I have to be here in these sessions presentable for my clients is a world of good, right? So Marianne, please use it to your advantage. I understand that sometimes you can't, and it's not like it's your responsibility, so it wavers it, but this has helped me massively. The other thing I want to just say to you is that concept of recognizing that you're not alone. You're not alone with the depression at all. And if you part of the ladder, if you recognize that there is actually a support system out for you and you're able just to grasp it, even if it's a little bit, so you're not alone. And the other thing is Love yourself. It's okay.
Yeah.
You got to remember that. Love yourself. That don't now diss yourself for being depressed and diss yourself for not being able to do what's normal. Don't do that. Very,
Thank,
very real. Yeah.
thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we all just kind of need to be reminded. One of the things that happened to me with this 42-day challenge is, so remember I was doing gut, right? And I was like, I had all of these, and it comes back to the learning, right? It's all of these amazing things that I wanted to do, and then applying it down to one thing. And if I reflect back, although I didn't like Lilani, I don't feel as moved. I have reduced my alcohol intake to 0 at this point. Um, and I have re reduced my coffee to 1 coffee a day. And that in itself is very, very gut strengthening. So that's absolutely amazing. And funnily enough, so remember I've been trying to get all these people to speak to me. I have 2 interviews this week. It was meant to be 4, but I cancelled the first 2. Sorry, Lilani, we'll get back onto it. Um, but I had really 4, but I cancelled the first 2. But I still have 2 this week of interviews for the 42-day challenge. So you'll definitely get access to that as soon as they're done. So although it feels as if it's been a slow rolling ball, the ball is rolling, and that is important to stop and to recognize. And then go back to, which is part of what I also wanted to discuss today, is padding. What are you doing to support yourself getting there? So I was like, why? Like I stopped doing my exercises last week, and I was like, why have I stopped doing my exercises? Like that was just part of my lifestyle now. And then I realized that this week's been a bit democard, and I needed a reminder. So I've now put a reminder. And since I put that padding, so I literally took one of my sticky notes and I put it on my cupboard door. That was my reminder. No phone beeping on me, no added extra crap. It was just a sticky note because I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And I didn't want to think too much. So I just grabbed the sticky notes as I left my office and went straight to my cupboard and just plonked it there. And now I'm like, oh yeah, sticky notes. Oh yeah, okay, okay. And off I go with my exercises, right? So the fact that you need to put in your mind what padding are you putting around you in order to get what you want is so unbelievably powerful. So I want to go through summarize the content of what we've been doing so far with this with the 42-day challenge. And it's the understanding, which we've already discussed, is the understanding of being able to know what you want and being able to take that and break it down. So the gut, looking after the gut, came down to quite simply 1 cup of coffee a day, which I've totally aced, and I aced at the beginning. And then I didn't realize I was going to do it only until the middle, which was the alcohol. So it's been an absolute, exactly what Anil said. It's the ability to make it small enough that you can manage it, which is wonderful. Okay, is there anyone wants to say anything before I dive into this? No. Okay, here we go. So even if you're not going to be doing the 42-day challenge moving forward, this is the idea. The first thing is that you
Sorry, Anne-Marie. So are we allowed to do the 42-day challenge multiple times, or is it just once?
because you belong to the Abundance membership, you get the 42-day challenge once free, and then moving forward at
Okay.
a discounted rate.
Ah, fabulous. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, it's a nice added extra to have. Sorry, you sent my mind into this whirlpool of other thoughts there, Neil. I quickly have to make a note. My to-do list this morning, I thought I had nailed it, right? And I sat this morning with my morning pages and figuring out my brain and just getting things into place and what I needed to do. And I'm sitting at 13. So 13 doesn't sound too bad. The problem with the 13 is I've just put the main content. I haven't put the fact that within the 13 consists of another 5 steps. And I thought, I can't handle that now. It's just going to have to be the first step, right? So Anil, you've just added the 13th step. Okay, summary. You determine what it is that you wanted to stop and start. You put a date to it. This is the time frame that I'm going to push myself forward. Why do we use a time frame? We use a time frame because a time frame allows us to feel comfortable because we only need to do it for that period of time. A time frame allows us to be like, oh, shit, I have to put a crack underneath my ass because guess what? Time is moving without me. So we use time as a manipulation tool in order to get what we want. If you find yourself not proactively doing what you need to do, see if you can use the time as the manipulator. I messaged you throughout this thing to say, can you believe it's 3 weeks left? It's 4 weeks left. Oh, and that is such a, oh my word, I need to get my butt into gear. I can't go on like this any longer. It's a massive butt into gear move. Another really essential thing about the time factor is that if you get to your goal, like the experience that Lalani and I have had, so you get to the end of your goal and you feel as if, hold on, something's up here. The idea is that you reflect. Because as soon as Lalani reflected and as soon as I reflected, I saw the growth that I had experienced. So that is a very important thing. It's a funny concept because we're not using the time factor to motivate us in the sense of when I get there, I'm going to judge myself if I've done it or not. It's not that. We think it's that, but it's actually not that. Whether you've got the goal or not, you've actually had the experience, and that is what matters. Okay, so that's the time factor. So you decide what you want, you put down a time, and you write it down. The more places you have what it is that you're wanting to achieve around you, the better. So I often just put my idea onto Canva, and I download a little image that I'm able to put on my phone and on my desktop. Same image, different image, but I just look at that picture and I know, hey, Marianne, I did this couple of years ago when I was emotionally down, is when I was up, when I was feeling good, I went onto Canva, I designed myself a little Life is Okay. It was actually what is that bird in Harry Potter that's representative of, I can't remember what the bird is. Anyway, it's a specific bird that represents like life. And I have that bird I still do, on my screensaver of my phone and on my computer as a reminder to keep me on track. So you use that concept because what happens is you sit at your desk and you think, think I feel like a cup of coffee. And at that moment, you're not remembering that you're actually on a 42-day gut transplant. So then you go have a cup of coffee. But if you're reminded all the time that you're actually on a 42-day challenge, that it is saying don't drink that coffee, then you're able to do it. So it's having the reminder, right, backtrack, decide, time it, write it down. Next thing, padding. Put padding around the support system that's going to get you there. How are you going to support yourself? Now, this I felt was unbelievably interesting because at first you're almost like, I don't know, how am I going to support myself to like to look after my gut? I have no idea. But as you go through that emotion of getting it right, you're like, oh. Next thing that's fundamentally important, check-ins. check-ins is important not only because you're checking in to be like, how well did I do it? And the original course content always wanted you to grade it from 0 to 10, and then you were supposed to progressively move yourself forward. I actually once had a client, an IT genius, and he designed himself a little kind of like app on his computer. And what he did is every morning he would move his little grading to to how far he had gotten to reach his goal. His goal was he wanted to super wealthy. He wanted to start living a life where his business can live without him. So he was slowly trying to exclude his business, and it was a massive important goal for him. And he used to have this little thing that he used to move up and down. Brilliant checker, right? The other important thing of the check-ins is the fact that you stop, and you think to yourself, how am I? That's what it causes you to do. How am I? What the hell am I doing? Where am I? What planet am I on? So the check-ins become so unbelievably important. And I still have my check-in there. So Monday, I was just about to say Friday, and then I remembered Lalani. Friday check-ins, there it is. I just check in. It's a quick thing. It takes half a second. What am I doing? Did I get this right? Didn't I get that right? No, yes, maybe. Why? What padding can I put around me? Transformation. Yeah. I need to find another word for transformation, right? So what's transformation? Transformation is the ability to become person B. As a life coach, I talk a lot about transformation. I learned something the other day that made me feel better, a lot, like so much better in terms of transformation, becoming something. So I'm going to contradict myself here, okay? So just work with me. The thing that I learned was that from the accounting world, we've got something called WIP. WIP is work in progress. So you use it in terms of like the answer is coming, WIP, work in progress, right? So I learned the other day that to be authentically you is WIP, is work in progress. You don't find yourself because you are already authentically you. It's a work in progress. It's a structure that's going to change. So one day, I don't like pink. And the very next day, I like pink. That doesn't mean I'm not authentically me. And I link that with the transformation because a lot of people come to tell me what they're transforming into, and I think like, oh, what? Like, I don't even think that suits your character, let alone like flip and judgy from my point. But it's my issue with transformation to become somebody and finding your authentic self, right? But they're actually the same thing. It's in the progress of the transformation that you find yourself. Isn't that wonderful? It's the process. It's not actually the person B. The person B is where you're standing from person A. You say, that's where I'm going to be. But it's the progress that gets you to the authentic you. It is the person B. So the original content needs to remain the same because guess what? You need to have that vision of who the hell person B is. But in the same sense, when you get to person B, you stop and you recognize the transformation is the process of authenticity. And that's how you change it to a lifestyle change because you're authentically comfortable with the move. Blinking surprise. It's been so much easier than I ever imagined. I thought, how am I going to survive? I haven't had a cup of coffee this morning and I don't even feel as if I need it. I changed it to a gut tea. I was like, yeah, that's not going to work. Good. How about the other one? Alcohol. Am I comfortable not drinking alcohol? Yes, it's actually been really easy. It hasn't been half as difficult as I thought, but it's that deciding factor that needs to come into play. Am I going to drink one day? Yes. I'm not going to drink, but I'm not going to use my drinking as a drink. It's going to be in a different way. Okay. What is the other thing I wanted to say to you? I just want to go through my notes here quickly. Oh, how could I have forgotten? It's probably the most important one. If you don't remember anything I've said this whole time through the 42-day challenge, remember this one. It's the most important one. Feeling your why in your soul. Feeling your why in your soul. If you don't have that, you ain't gonna get it. You're just not. Because what you're not doing, or what you should be doing, what you're not doing is difficult to do. So you don't want to do it. What you are doing, you're actually enjoying doing, that's why you're doing it. So the only way for you to change your mindset about that is by understanding your why. My sister is here because my mom is here. My mom is in hospital at the moment. And so my sister is here because she's traveled with my mom because my mom wasn't well. And my sister's never liked plain yogurt. So she has to eat plain yogurt because she's been on antibiotics. So she's like, no, she has to eat this plain yogurt. And I said to her, tell your brain that it's not sweet. Tell your brain this yogurt is not sweet. And then your brain is not surprised when you have the yogurt that's not sweet. Because who said yogurt must be sweet? And then I thought of the Ava. Remember I told you that the difference in the cultures with my ex and I is that he eats an Avo and we put sugar in our Avo. So in my mind, Avo is sweet. Why on earth would anyone have a salty Avo, right? And he's like, never, you ruin it. It's just because my mind thinks that. Just change your mind. Just change your mind. Why is yogurt meant to be sweet? Who said that?
The Americans.
There we go. Now we must follow everything the blinking Americans say. Why do we do that? I don't know. So it's just like, just tell your mind. Why is the ability to tell your mind and understand the why and have it in your soul. For a second there, I knew why the Y was linked to the yogurt, but the Y and the yogurt, now I've lost the association somewhere in my brain there. But the Y somewhere along the time was linked to the yogurt. That's why I told you that, but now it's gone. Okay. So you're deciding you're going to do gut cleaning thing, and you get to 3 weeks into whatever you're doing, and you're like, this isn't working. It is not an indication that you chose the wrong thing. I'm going to repeat this because this was a big learning for me a couple of years ago, because I felt as if God was giving me messages, and each time it was bad, it was bad, it was bad, it was bad. In my mind, I decided it was God giving me the message that I shouldn't do what I'm doing. Now, I'm like, hold on a second, that absolutely theory makes absolute no sense, right? Because the only time you're growing is if something bad is happening. So, something bad is happening while I'm trying to get something done. Surely that's a good thing. Right? So it's like, hold on a second. So that theory is bad. That's a bad theory. So what is the theory? The theory is that if you want to do something and you feel it in your soul, but things are difficult and keep pushing you back, try harder. And the try harder is actually to break it down into the most minutest step. I went from gut to coffee. My vision was loads of things. Break it down into the most minutest step. Going back to the guy in the ladder, right? We did the superhero guy. That's a brilliant freaking exercise. Progress, not perfection. Oh my word, this is a big one. somewhere along the line, they said to us, and it became engraved in our bodies, that you're only allowed to start when you're perfect. You're only allowed to be on stage when you know it well. Rubbish! You got to start where you're at. And guess what? I'm not perfect. I will never be perfect. If I'm waiting for perfection, then what the hell am I waiting for?
May I say something here?
Absolutely.
I watch a lot of well, it's competitions, but it's creativity, like sewing or pottery or whatever. So it's over a couple of weeks and whatever. And in all those programs, whether it's sewing or whatever, they say you cannot get better if you don't make mistakes. You learn through mistakes. And that helped me a lot in just saying, if I never do, because I'm so scared it's not going to be perfect, I do nothing. Doing nothing, you can't learn. So, and I've got a lot more guts now to just try something. Yes, made a big mess. So what? Just start over again. Yeah, so that is very important.
Brilliant,
Um,
Marianne, absolutely brilliant. It's a mindset change for what you're capable on. And I think that some people, it's a personality thing that you have naturally. You like things done in a certain way, and often that needs to be perfect. But also a contribution to that is the way that you've been brought up. I fortunately have a mother that's an absolute perfectionist. She will not submit it unless it's perfect. And I have a father that's the exact opposite. He will tile the floor and not do the last little rimmings to make it look pretty. He's like, floor's tiled. And you're like, for years we lived with the tile, the floor's not tiled. The floor was tiled, but there was no skirtings around the edges, right? And my mother would say, "Oh, Bill, you. Why don't you finish it off?" He said, "What you talking about? The job is finished. It's finished." And my mother was like, "Ah." And they still fight like that all the time, actually. But it's an understanding that these two people are so unbelievably different. And what is more important? The tile needed to be done. It did. It needed to be done. That was more important. The perfection, my mother could have said, "Okay, give it to me. I'll hire someone. I'll sort out the last little bit." My father had done his job. Tiles were in. What's more important? Having the tiles or not having the tiles? And that's the way you need to think of it. Someone said to me with this perfection thing, it's like, yes, and I agree with this, especially from an IT point of view. If you don't start and almost make the code perfect, you've always got to go back to fix the code, because then you change that and you change that and then your code's a mess, right? So if you don't have that, it's like, no. Don't misunderstand it. You're not putting in your best effort to make it perfect. You're still doing that. But you're not wasting all the time not starting. If you're finding yourself that you're stuck at point 1 or point 2 and point 3 because you're trying to make that point perfect, move on. Don't do the groundwork. Don't not do the groundwork. Do the groundwork. Fix that understanding of the code at the bottom so you've got a really good foundation. Do that. Do that well. But you don't have to perfect it. Because I can guarantee you, if you spend 5 hours perfecting it, something's going to have to change anyway. Because as you go, you're learning through that process and something's made sense to you. Now you've got to go back and fix that anyway, whether it was perfect or not. So it's just allowing yourself to accept the fact that it actually doesn't need to be perfect. And if it isn't perfect at the end, you can put that in your time frame factor. It's like, actually, the most time on perfection is at the end. My mother and her tiles, my father did them. She could have gone to the shop and said, "Listen, on Saturday afternoon, you're putting these in for me." Done. Because at the end, you can worry about the perfection. Look, tiles is an easy example because you can always fix the tile at the end. But sometimes you do find yourself in a situation where you think, I should have spent more time on the first step, right? But it's not doing the first step well. You just don't have to make it perfect. And that's the difference. Any questions there?
I just want to say also, uh, your criteria of perfection and mine will be miles apart.
Yeah.
It's also a thing because I would do things and I would think it's perfect. And then my mother and father and sisters would come and tear it apart and say, point out all the mistakes. And then I used to just be depressed and won't do it ever again. So that's also standing up to people who criticize. I know they meant well. It took me years in just saying, it's okay for me. It's mine. I made it. Instead of just focusing on the mistakes. There won't even be something like saying, oh, it's very nice. It would focus me to, oh, here, there's a small little thing here that's not perfect. And also, I mustn't do it with other people, yeah. And
I agree with you 100%. It's a massive one.
people who are very perfectionists tend to want to help and then criticize. And sometimes that's not the best
Outcome.
way
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next thing is being grateful. Took me a long time to figure out why emotionally. Like, why for me is being grateful important? Because I've done grateful journals and there was just, I didn't feel the relevance of what I was doing. And then I was in the situation that I'm not going to go into any detail. And at that point, I realized why the gratefulness is so important. Because if you're standing in a place of gratefulness for what is in front of you, you can never be upset. It's not possible. If you're standing in gratefulness, you can never be upset. If you allow that emotion, you can never be upset. The worst situation, you can find something to be grateful for. And that's where you need to concentrate on. It's insane. Like when I understood it, I understood it. It just took me a long time to figure it out. Lelani?
Burning to say this. So, this is the other part of last week's session that was so amazing and powerful. You know what I taught my children and my husband? I wish we were on our way to eat by my favorite restaurant. And you know what? It puts a smile on their faces, and they are all just like so in the moment. So I started doing that. Soon, one day, they will also say, I wish, I
Yeah,
wish.
yeah, yeah. They will, they will, they will.
Yeah.
It's such a nice one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
absolutely
a
love
really,
it.
really special one. Yeah. Now you sent my mind into my grandfather Lelani. Yeah, it's a very, very, very cool one. Um, mm. The importance of gratefulness can shift
No,
you.
can you see this? I wish.
Show me? Sorry, my internet.
This is my tips on my laptop.
No,
Oh,
I see.
nice. Very,
So
very
it says,
nice.
so it says, well, irrelevant, superhero, less cortisone, less anxiety, less stress, because that's the equal. And then on the other side, it says, I wish, dot, dot, dot. Small
He's famous.
reminders, small reminders to pad myself. This is my padding.
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. I think there was one last thing. So, got 1 minute and I'm almost done. So what I want you to do is take a nice deep breath in and have the excitement, take a nice deep breath in and have excitement fill you for what the possibility is that comes next for you. So just imagine excitement filling you for what comes next for you. Comes into that capable, the what's in your capacity session. Have we done that session in the abundance? I don't think we have. Have we done the capacity session? Oh, that's a nice one. Just allow the excitement to come to you with what is possible for you moving forward. Okay, anyone have anything to say before we log off? Cool. Thank you
Nope,
very
I'm
much.
good.
So, sorry,
Yes.
so does that mean today is our last session?
No, actually, Anil, we've got the Sunday one, and then we've
Right.
also got, I'm sure we've got a Friday one. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to open up my calendar.
I think we have next week. Next week, Wednesday is the first and last of the 42, right? It's not today,
It's
is it?
today. The 13th is the last day. Sunday the
Okay.
13th. No, Anil, that's it.
Okay, and Sunday the 13th is not a Zoom session, that's the
That's a live
in-person.
session into Kai Forest, yes. And then that's with the headsets. You get a headset. We split into two groups of walkers and runners. I don't know who is going to be here because a lot of the moms are on school holidays and they're away. But I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to do it. I think it's still going to be awesome. So yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but for those that's continuing, we just
Marianne, you're on mute. Sorry, Lalani.
for those that's continuing with the next session of the next set of 42 days, we just see you next week, Wednesday at 9
You
again.
just see me next week, Wednesday at 9. We carry on like usual. Yes, and I have to give you access to the program again and send you the link for payment details.
Okay. So you will put that on the group, right?
I'll put that on the group. Good idea, Lalani. Good idea. Number 14.
Yeah.
What I wanted to know, Sunday, it's whether it's snowing or raining or storm, we are going for a walk and a
Yes.
run.
Yes. The only thing is that if it's raining, I don't think we can use the equipment of the headsets in case it damages. So we'll just have to run without music. But that's okay. Or walk. That's okay. Just dress nice and
I
walk
don't have any.
normally and we do whatever, a nice speed walk. And if it's really bad, then we can maybe just do some of the forest, stick in the trees section. Yeah, really cold, we can stop off and have a cup of coffee instead. Because they've got that secret forest, that secret tea garden thing there, that garden at the back. Have you been there, Marianne?
Mm-mm.
Oh no, then you must come. Have you never
Yeah.
walked into Kai Forest?
Years ago.
Come because there's this nice little coffee shop and we do the round, we do all the way around, and then if we want to, we stop for coffee. So it's nice. Yeah, it's social. And I do think, yeah, Yeah. Okay. Hope
Thank
to
you.
see you guys there. And otherwise, I'll see you on our usual weekly day for the abundance.
And